The moment is here, you can stop your search. It's Comics by Perch.
Hey everybody, this is Perch. I don't keep close tabs on what's on Disney Plus or Netflix or Max or any of these different. See, HBO, you should be proud of me. See, I've converted. You told me the brand changed to just Max. I just called it Max. Very natural, flowed right out, just like that, Max. Anyway, it was funny because when HBO Max became Max, like they did this whole song and dance. I've got an Apple TV, and I was kind of and there was like, this Max is coming. It's going to be Max shortly. And I'm looking at this. It's like you're going to keep the same blue, same look and feel, same general kind of style. You're taking HBO off, and it's going to be Max instead of HBO Max. And they're doing an entire parade. By the way, for all 5 of you that saw the same thing happening, you're like right now, like, yes, exactly. But most of you are like, what the fuck is he talking about? But anyway, they did this entire like song and dance for how the name was changing, and it's going to be Max. Get ready for Max, and then it's Max now, and then you're going to need to download a different app because it's now Max. What changed? The icon. Pretty much that's it. Now, logistically, what's happening is that the business behind it is being converted over, and Apple won't let you easily do that. Trust me, I know. But anyway, I found the entire conversion to Max thing absolutely absurd. But maybe you did too. Anyway, this mail is somebody who is watching. By the way, one thing I was kind of curious about, though, is I go to Disney Plus, and they've got Avatar 2, The Way of Water, which was a lot of water. But anyway, The Way of Water. And then it's on Disney Plus and it's on HBO simultaneously. And I found that pretty wild. Like it's on both streaming channels at the same time. I know that's very silly, but it reminds you of kind of how things used to be, where we weren't so regimented between pieces. I also find it amusing that all the other streaming channels have their stuff fed into Apple TV, so you can see what you watched in one interface, except Netflix. And it always strikes me, Netflix is like, fuck you guys, we're doing our own thing. It just, okay. Again, only I care. Let's get to this mail. It says, Perch, hey there. If you haven't heard, Disney has removed the Heroes Project and Marvel 616 from Disney Plus. I find the removal of Marvel 616 interesting. Do you think this is purely a money-saving decision to remove content that probably isn't watched much and to stop paying royalties? Or do you think it is a sign that there's going to be a big shakeup at Marvel Comics? Thanks for all you do. Thank you for writing in. I don't think it's a sign of a big shakeup. And because I got playing this one out, nobody at Marvel Comics in that division really, has any control over what's going on Disney Plus. So the idea that somebody on Disney Plus be like, I've heard there's going to be a shakeup at Marvel Comics, I should, go ahead and remove this content before that happens, so we keep everything like that. They won't do that. Nobody is coordinating at that level. Disney has a struggle just coordinating amongst themselves for things like, in Disney World, the people who are managing the resorts and the people who are managing the theme parks, and the tickets and the coordination between the two is a logistical pain in the ass. And so there wouldn't be that stuff for a show on Disney Plus. So which means it's more likely the first, which still has some intriguing aspects to it. So in theory, the stuff that was created for Disney Plus was created in such a way that didn't pay out royalties to people, didn't have a bunch of financial weird strings attached to it, were kind of benign. I mean, it was original content created for this channel. It's not like the first Iron Man where you got to cut Paramount into the picture somehow, or any of those other things. It was just, it was for all intents and purposes, it was house material. So why remove it? Well, it's not because of storage costs. It's that's not what's going on. So why? I have no doubt, by the way, the Heroes Project and Marvel 616 are not watched much. I'm sure it's for dead content. And now maybe there's a possibility that somebody on Disney Plus is sitting there and kind of monitoring, what's being watched and where things are at. And they're, intentionally being thoughtful about what to leave on the channel and not, so they don't have kind of weird orphan projects. I mean, that's possible. But I think more likely there was some kind of money. I'm totally speculating here. I have no idea, but I would guess that there's some kind of royalty or somebody's appearing that thing, or maybe with the writer's strike, there's the idea that it's a documentary on people. Maybe they didn't get all the rights signed off on. Maybe somebody with some common sense looked at this thing and went, "Oh my God, this makes Dan Slott look terrible," and then they decided to take it off. I don't know, but my feeling is it's wrapped up in some kind of weird, whoever commissioned the show or produced it or got the money for it or whatever else, screwed something up, or it was funded in a way that created a tie to somebody they didn't want to tie to. That's my guess. I don't think it has anything to do with bigger shakeups. It'd be amazing to speculate on that, but probably not. I also don't think it has anything to do with, it's content that wasn't being watched. So they thought, well, you might as well remove it because nobody cares, and just makes us look bad to have nobody viewing this stuff that nobody cares about. I don't think it's either of those things. There is a possibility here, I guess, that they want Marvel Comics to be portrayed in a certain way. And both of those shows leaned more into the comic book aspect of it, not for all episodes, but in the 616 project, there was at least more kind of talking about the logistics of making comics and doing all that. And there's a possibility that, Feige looked at that and went, this looks old fashioned and crappy, and I don't want my brand to be associated with this. I mean, that's a possibility. I think, one thing to kind of look at and be curious about is they've also shuttered a lot of the lifestyle type content that existed on YouTube. And they've been doing this for a little while. It's not like this happened yesterday. But a lot of those kinds of shows that would be produced have been either quietly rolled back or not coming out as much, or, they've largely abandoned a lot of that content. Now because I believe it was funded by the comics division, you could make an argument that it was not making them any money. It was a headache and not something to worry about. So, let's bail. I think that's probably more likely the case there. But in general, a lot of the lifestyle type content for Marvel and the MCU is being very quietly rolled back. So I wouldn't be surprised if there was a little bit going on there to kind of help manage that. But that's my take. So now I want the conspiracy people out there. What do you think? What's going on? Do you think there's a deeper thing? Are they about to send Dan Slott over to go write DC Comics? Is that what's going to end? Like, what do you think? What's your prediction for all this? And more importantly, if you were in charge of Disney or Disney Plus and this whole environment, what would you be doing right now to curate your content? Would you be carefully managing everything that's there? Putting things on and taking it away? Do you believe in the Disney approach that they use for other movies, where they deliberately take stuff off the shelf to increase the demand at times? Like, how would you be managing this service? And overall, so we haven't talked about it much, what do you think of Disney Plus? There's lots of YouTube channels out there like it's failing, and it's all in, for what it's worth, putting up a streaming service, standing it up, doing what they were doing. There's obviously going to be issues when they went for COVID, and had those subscribers, and they had to deal with people going back and how it was all going to be dealt with. I mean, there's a lot of stuff there. But in general, how do you think Disney Plus is doing? How would you rate it as a service? Where does it sit? As a parent, if you've got young kids and all the Disney movies are there and you can just watch it on repeat and you don't have to worry too much about the parental controls, that's going to be a winner for a lot of parents. But how do you feel? Let me know in the comments below. Like and subscribe, of course, and thanks for listening.